So I do want to talk about Game of the Year, right? Because the Game of the Year nominations is around the corner. So I'm going to go through a handful of games, and then in no particular order. Love to start with our guests. You guys jump in and let me know if you think this game will be a contender or does it deserve to be up there. And the very first game on the list is
Well, one
Astro.
question, Fame.
Yeah.
Is
Go ahead.
this? Are we doing this based on what we think should be Game of the Year, or what are we doing this based on what we think Jeff Keighley's panel thinks is going to vote for Game of the Year? Because there's a difference. There's like my personal Game of the Year and what I think is up there versus what I think the jury is going to vote for. You know what I mean? Which way are we going here? Personal, or are we trying to guess?
Let's do both. Do you think it'll be there, or will it actually get there? And so, Rand, I'm gonna start with you in the first game, which I think, because we know how Jeff Keighley seems to lean. Astrobot, to acclaim. People love this game. It was heralded as PlayStation's Mario. This Astrobot, will it be there Monday?
Yes, I think it will be there on Monday. I think
personally and Keighley.
Well, I mean, you look at it, you look at the reviews, and usually the people that do the reviews are part of the panel of Jeff Keighley's thing. So the game got a 94 on Metacritic. So the people I think are going to vote it in for Game of the Year. I mean, Paris has been campaigning for the game to be Game of the Year for months now. So yeah, I think it shows up. And if it would be in my Game of the Year, I think so. If I had 6 candidates for my own personal, like my top 6 games, I think Astrobot fits in there towards the bottom end of it.
I haven't played Astrobot, but I totally agree. I think on both sides, I think it fits. It fits the mode of what I think is going to be, automatically getting a nod for Game of the Year. I think in a year with so many big games, we're not going to have a what was it? It Takes Two, even though It Takes Two was a great game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not It Takes Two year. It's not one of those just like, oh man, this is honest. Like, there's not a lot of big contenders. I think Astrobot amongst the big boys, it's going to hold its own.
Yeah.
100%. Anybody disagree? B, you disagree with Astrobot before I get to the next one?
I think it'll. I feel like it'll be there. I think it's gonna be there. Do I think it should be there?
Come on now.
No, I don't think it should be there. But
really?
Spicy.
Yeah, I don't think it should be there. That's just me.
Why not? Paris is mad at you right now, bro.
I got beef with platformers.
Ooh,
yeah.
I thought you were gonna say PlayStation. But...
Oh no! Hey, look, hey man, I play all things wherever I can. But yeah, it's I just have an issue with platformers, and then in a world where a game like Hogwarts Legacy didn't even get a nod, to think that Astrobot 2, which didn't even sell as well, is going to be Game of the Year potential is weird to me.
Yeah, but it's not based on sales.
Yeah, it's not based on sales. It's not based.
And maybe Hogwarts Legacy just wasn't good enough.
Yeah, look.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to get politics tied into it either, but you do like.
Yeah, that
Hogwarts Legacy is kind of lined out into a different thing. If a lot of that revenue wasn't going to a specific transphobic, person, then I'm sure the game would be recognized a little bit more. But I do agree that Astrobot definitely should be in there for sure. I mean, think about what the game came from, of it just being like a test phase game of like, hey, this is how your PS5 works, to, hey, we're going to make a game that is not just a really fun platformer, but is also a museum of everything that has been a great representation of gaming over the last 30 years. So I think it's a fantastic choice. I mean, do I think that it's going to win? No, but I mean, a nomination for sure.
Now this next game, Dallas, I hope you're here, right? Dallas, is he here?
I know his mic is muted, but
because he gonna be upset about this one. But the next one, Black Myth Wukong, I Don't think it's going to get nominated. I don't know if it should. I haven't personally played the game, but from everything I've seen, a lot of people were. I think it was too much of a divide on. Hey, this is a boss rush game. This isn't the action adventure God of War-esque game that people thought it would be. It's more of a Soulsy boss rush type game. You know, we talked about this earlier, B, with Black Myth Wukong. I was hoping Dallas would get his opinion, but B, I'm gonna start with Hugs. I'm gonna start with these. I didn't get you on the last one. Black Myth Wukong, will it be there Monday?
I don't know. Personally, I don't think it deserves it just on the spiders alone. You see those how fast them spiders were in that one section? Oh my
god.
But no, it's a good game. Will it be up there? I don't know. I'm not Jeff Keighley and his voting panel, but it deserves because people love it, and I ain't heard. Like, I'm out of the gaming sphere. I haven't been on Twitter. I'm not really checking for news unless we're doing it, and I ain't heard not a bad thing about it. So people are enjoying it. There's no game-breaking bugs. It deserves to be at least a nod to it. And just because a game doesn't get a nod, I think people need to remember just because it doesn't get a nod, or it does get a nod, doesn't mean it's a bad game either way, because Stray got a nod for GOTY. It was a nomination. But Stray is a good game, but it shouldn't have been up there. But it's still a good game. The games there's a lot of hard work, and we talked about the good, bad, ugly. There's a lot of hard work. So don't just be happy for every game that gets nominated. And yeah, Black Myth will definitely should. I was stalling, hoping Dallas would come back.
She's working hard.
I'm working hard. Like
Hugger, you brought up Stray. Before we move on with this, I want to ask you guys and jump in whoever wants to. Do we have an indie darling this year? Do we have a?
I think we do.
What's the indie darling this year?
Oh yeah,
people love Balatro, and that's on mobile now and everything. Yeah. And you look at the reviews, that's I think it's like a 90.
And it feels like it brought on a whole wave of roguelike literal card game experiences.
I'll tell you this. I mean, in the small town that I live in, like, a lot of people always ask me for, game advice and what games to play or whatever. And there's actually a good chunk of people in this small town that are like freaks about this game. And it was something that, because I was so busy, it just kind of went outside of my radar. And it was actually brought up to me by somebody I work with, and they were like, "Hey, have you played this yet? It's like a rogue-like kind of card game." And I was like, And I looked it up, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I could definitely see that being the indie darling this year for sure. I mean, there's too many people talking about it. There's too many people playing it. It's definitely got its fan base now.
And then it's partnered up with a bunch of other games. What has it been, like 3 other big games that it's partnered with? For some reason, I can't remember for the life of me.
I haven't followed. I mean, I've heard obviously I've heard about it, people talk, but I have yet to really care for Balatro. I honestly didn't even think about it. I was thinking about the indie darlings. I didn't think we had any. But yeah, that game was like on everyone's Twitter handle. Point.
What about Helldivers 2? That's not an indie darling?
It's not an indie.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're published by PlayStation, you're not an indie game.
And by the way, just to knock out the way, Helldivers at one point, I ain't gonna lie.
No, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing recency bias. Because if that game would have released in summer, it would be a game of the year talk without debate. If everything, with all the flubs they had and everything, with everything that went on at the beginning of the year, if they would have moved it to summer, if they would have released like July, it'd be game of the year talk without debate. It wouldn't even be we wouldn't even. Okay, so are you gonna put Dragon's Dogma 2 over Helldivers in game of the year talk?
I would say it has a better chance.
I just look at Game of the Year a little different than what everybody else does. I mean, whenever I go off of Game of the Year, I don't base games off of like the way Keighley and his team do and stuff like that. Like, Game of the Year is, the way I look at it is, you got up until like the first week of December. If some of these games that have launched before, in the last few years that have launched in like October and November have been like fantastic games, and they get passed over for these lists because, oh, well, it launched, a little late and so on and so forth. I don't feel like, and it's always been some of these, good indie games or third-party games, but mega hits like, Call of Duty, they could release in November, no ifs, ands, or buts, and they're still going to be considered for Game of the Year. So I just look at my calendar on that aspect is just a little different, and just to shout out, Indie Darling Games. If you haven't checked this game out, you should definitely check it out. Steam World Heist 2, a fantastic indie title. If you haven't had a chance to play it, definitely check it out. It's a really great game.
It reminded me of Worms.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Worms. Yeah. Which
the
is
best thing about it is it's just got a really unique feel, great music, unique gameplay and stuff like that. And I mean, the team they're very, very passionate about the, of course, Steam World aspects, stuff, since every game they've come out with is Steam based. So,
what?
I'll check it out.
This next one will be a little bit controversial. Rand, I'm jumping back over to you.
Okay.
Entry is it? How do you pronounce it? The Elder Ring DLC.
Erdtree?
Shadow of Erdtree.
Shadow of the Erdtree, I believe it's.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. Will Elden Ring DLC, because it qualifies. Am I not correct? If I'm
they just made the announcement. Yeah.
You want to know? I look. Conspiracy theories are cool. I was big into those back in the day. I do like me a good conspiracy theory, right? There's a part of me that thinks that rule suddenly changed literally because of Shadow of the Erdtree.
I agree. Totally.
People loved Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring is one of the games of the generation. And this is coming from someone who doesn't like Dark Souls, didn't care for the franchise, but loves some of the other From Software games like Sekiro and Bloodborne. But Elden Ring, I somehow jived with that game, even though it was open world Dark Souls. And I haven't played Erdtree, so it's tough to say where it would be on my list because I haven't played it. Just like Black Myth Wukong, right? You mentioned Black Myth Wukong before. It's tough to say because I haven't tried it myself, but I feel like Black Myth Wukong might be the Hogwarts Legacy pick this year, where it's like it's the highest seller that doesn't get any recognition really from the awards, just like Hogwarts Legacy did, potentially. But yeah, I have this feeling that a lot of these people at these outlets were probably emailing Jeff or texting him being like, Erdtree's my number one, but I can't do it because it's a DLC and stuff. So then it just completely changed the game and was like, well, actually, now DLCs, remakes, game seasons are all up for awards and stuff.
Terrible, dude.
It's like, okay, so that means like a Fortnite season could be up for something, what have you. But I really do think this all began because a lot of people do have Shadow of the Erdtree in their list, considering like by itself, it's like a 30 to 40 hour campaign.
It was like 60 bosses.
It's bigger than most actual like new games.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be there. And I think it has a very, very good chance of winning the whole thing.
Same.
I agree. I agree in that aspect. I do disagree with the fact that it should be considered a game of the year. I think
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
I think it should be broken into its own category. Like DLC of the year or expansion of the year or something.
Which they do have, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they?
I don't think they do. Because
No.
Resident Evil 4 was nominated for Game of the Year last year, and that's a remake. And so was Final Fantasy VII remake in 2020. So the remake isn't. Another part of I've seen this floating around is Jeff is doing this so PlayStation can get their remasters in, like Last of Us 2 winning again, or Horizon finally getting a win, because PlayStation loves to remaster their games.
Yeah.
So,
but and I mean, how much would that really change things and hurt things to make a couple of extra categories? Like an expansion of the year or remake of 2024, or do it to where it's like best remake of the decade or something. I don't know, man. I mean, there's got to be some type of like way of doing that to where it could still seem fair based off of and I agree with what Thor said as well. Is this DLC is a little different comparing it to something like a Fortnite season or a season in Call of Duty or something. This DLC, it was like 40 something hours, had 60 something bosses, had all this additional stuff. It felt like a complete new addition to the game, almost to the point where they could have released it by itself, but it does put things into question like that. Does it actually deserve to be up there with a full-fledged, $70 to $100 game that has 100 something hours worth of, whatever. So it's definitely something delicate, but I mean, I agree. I definitely think it's going to be up there for sure, and there is a possibility, that it could be voted for the big award. So
I'm 1,000,000% against it. I don't think DLCs, remakes, because here's another one to kind of go in that category. I guess this may be a little bit different to how you feel. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Well, I mean, that's not different. I mean, it falls in the same category. It is we can all admit that, of course, Final Fantasy, the remake or re-release of Final Fantasy is a lot more expansive than what it originally was whenever it first came out, but they're remakes, so it does put into question, like, should remakes that release, should they be considered as actual, full game of the year, since they are just a reimagining of something that already previously released, but as well as should they be put in the same category as something like a DLC, since it is a continuation of something that's already been released before.
I mean, bring more categories back. Spike Game Awards had like 60 categories. Bring some categories back.
Yeah, let it go. Yeah.
But I mean, some remakes I do think like constitute the label of a brand new game. Like, it's not every game basically an amalgamation of mechanics they saw in a separate game. Not everybody does something new. And that being said, I think it's a case by case thing. Yes, expansions I think should have their own category.
Yes.
Maybe, and I know they are not all built equally, but maybe something like Shadow of the Erd Tree could influence the next thing that wants to be video game award bait. Maybe that could
actually, it's not even Shadow of the Erd Tree. Go back last year, the year before. Drake brought up Phantom Liberty. Didn't they win?
Yeah, Phantom Liberty would deserve it too.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Those are full on.
Sorry, I keep cutting you off. It's my bad.
Go ahead, G.
It's just that's what we think when we think expansion. Give me new areas to explore. Give me new enemies. Give me something else to strive for. That's an expansion. DLC, on the other hand, if we can make that distinction, I guess, it's just a little something extra to do, or a little something extra to play around with, or sometimes a mode. But who knows how much enjoyment people end up getting out of those things, and who knows whether or not they end up becoming like ongoing things, ongoing games in and of themselves. Like somebody, one of y'all said earlier, or maybe I saw it in the chat, that Elden Ring could fit that category. And it's not ongoing. It's just a game with an extra chunk added to it. It just so happens that that's a sizable, pretty hefty chunk.
Welcome to the podcast, Dallas.
Oh man, listen. Like I said, I haven't slept in almost 3 years. That was more of my non-sleep aid. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think we do need a couple extra categories. But we are eventually going to again run into situations where something kind of falls outside each other.
Yeah.
But it feels so restrictive that we are talking about how big and collaborative and expansive and accessibility that we talked about earlier, and then to not have categories that could include that. And then again, you get to the line, where do you stop? But gaming is so big, and let's not forget, gaming is art. To have our Super Bowl restricted to not acknowledging all the players, almost, it kind of feels like,
damn, that's a good way to put it.
you could do a little better. You could do a little better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, there is no reason why there shouldn't be more categories, and it's hard to think about it like that because we've been so used to always like the same basis of things. But when you brought up when Hugger brought up the Spike Game Awards, I remember that, bro. Like they had all kinds of categories, bro. It was like it was award after award after award. And I mean, you're not in the aspect of saying like, oh, well, every game category should get this but I mean, I just think we should be a little bit more open-minded to expanding, the calendar of things and also the categories of things. We can't have like a shut off of like, well, if a game releases, like past September, then it's not going to have an opportunity against some of these other games. I mean, I sure as hell didn't expect Call of Duty to be as big as a success as it is this year. And bro, I mean, coming from somebody that's put in hours upon hours into it, man, it's the best Call of Duty to come out in a long time.
Yeah. I feel like I'm playing Black Ops 2 again.
Yeah, it's a great game. So
I was going to say, what the problem is that we're all thinking about the Game Awards as an actual show that is highlighting the creators with the industry, when the show is literally an advertisement show.
Yep,
it's a show designed around.
That's what it is. We are the hardcores.
Well, no, I know, but even to us, even to all around, like, we all know it's just a show to advertise products that are coming in the future. It's not really a show about uplifting creators and all that stuff. Because there is a show that does that. It's GDC when they do their stuff where the developers vote on it, but nobody watches it because they know gamers aren't going to care. Like, nobody really watches the look, there's a difference between the Oscars and the Game Awards, right? So last year, for example, I watched both of these with my friends in Discord, right? So we're watching the Oscars, and everybody is interested in who's going to win every single time. It's like, oh, who's going to win Best Supporting? We have like pools going on, right? But then when the commercials hit, everybody doesn't pay attention anymore. They care about the awards. With the Game Awards, it's flipped. Nobody really cares about who's winning the award. It's all about the commercials and what games are just about to get announced and what trailers. And it's structured that way. We talk about adding more different categories. They don't even give most of the awards away like on stream. They give them away off the thing. It's not an award show. It's an advertisement show. So I mean,
it's a showcase.
You just started the revolution, sir.
Yeah, we're fighting.
Yeah, we're fighting now. Yeah.
Yes.
Keely!
Let them people come up and thank Jesus.
Last year, when they were like, people would get up there and talk for 2 minutes, and then they get ushered off stage with the music. Please wrap it up and stuff.
Yeah,
you knew some, and almost like, I don't know how many awards were given like in batches. Like, oh, and the winner was this, and the winner was this, and the winner was this. Let's get back to our next sponsor. Like
that did happen last year.
I remember,
like in between awards, he's like, "Oh, hey, by the way, the best sports award was so and so," and I'm like, oh, "What is going on, man?" Like, it's more or less. It got to the point. It got to that point to where it was like, "Hey, let's focus more on the game announcements or world exclusives."
Out of my face.
Yeah,
here's your award. Get out of my face.
They're all tossing them.
Maybe it'll be. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet, but maybe it'll be different this year. Who knows?
Don't be rude when people are talking. Don't start that music. That was so rude after a while.
Yeah, it was.
The feedback maybe it gets to him. I mean, he did sort of acknowledge the no. Okay.
I mean, he might do a couple things different, but I mean, this is a show that also I think is bigger than the Super Bowl now.
Yeah.
I think they had more people watch it than the Super Bowl, and I think more people watch it than the Oscars. So,
and that's why he can charge a premium for his trailer spots. Like, it's the
which is why you're probably going to start seeing a lot less. You're going to start seeing less. I mean, people are these companies who are quick to pull a game and close down a studio, willing to pay. Was it? Well, how much was it?
400,000. It was like 400,000, crazy number.
Ridiculous. But it was like 400,000 for 30 seconds or something. And
you know what we're gonna see though, which what's crazy. Let's be 100% honest here. That's actually cheap because we know the 60-second slot 15, 20 years ago on the Super Bowl was $1 million. Like we know that was a fact. That was always a big thing. Like they paid $1 million to get that ad up. So for them to have the biggest event with the most eyes on it in the year, US eyes at that, 400,000 for 30 seconds is actually pretty cheap. But the problem is when you're putting these numbers in front of indie companies and within but that's a whole different thing.
If it stays that way, then it'll be fine. But Keeley definitely knows that the ESA went down that path, and we know what happened with that. So,
well, that's what I was gonna say. I wonder if especially with the way the industry is going and how shaky things are. I wonder if we're going to start seeing where it's more tech and not so much gaming. Like, remember, the big thing was during Summer Games Fest was Samsung. Like, will we get more, here's the Samsung TVs? Will we start seeing the Microsoft control? Not so much Game Pass, but here's the controller, Game Pass Fire Stick. Like, will we see ads for this stuff more so than, hey, here's the next upcoming indie title?
I wouldn't say more, but I would say it wouldn't surprise me if it's more kind of like tied in that perspective, because like you and me talked about at Summer Games Fest, the big push, which was not just by Samsung, of course, but it was by Microsoft themselves of saying, hey, listen, this is where we're going. And this is a visual aspect of like kind of what you can look forward to. I'm being the one that got rid of my Xbox console because there wasn't a reason to have it since I had Fire Stick. Everything I could do on an Xbox, I could do on my Fire Stick. So what was the point of having the console? And it just got to that point to where it's I think it's gotten to that point now to where we're just going to start seeing that tie-in. I mean, I don't know how many people on here have worked in consumer relations and stuff like that, but that's one of the big things that's always constant in consumer relations is the tie-in buy-in. Like what can you get a customer? Can you get a customer to go out the door with their main purchase as well as an additional purchase? That was one of the big things at GameStop for the 10 years that I worked there too. Like if they're buying a PlayStation 5, they need to be walking out with 2 controllers, a headset, a game. So I think that's just what these companies are getting around to doing the same thing. It's even with adverts. Like if we're watching the Game Awards and they're talking about this one game, and if they're not getting clicks off of this, then their advertisement didn't work the way it was supposed to. So that's just me. That's my mindset on it. I mean, it's all about consumerism. It's all about making sure that more people are watching and more people are checking out the things that have been paid for to be checked out. So that's kind of where the game awards are kind of going.
So I gotta ask, right? What is your game of the year? What do you, in your heart of hearts, believe is going to win?
Me personally?
Yeah, I want round table. Yeah.
Man, it's it's a hard year in that mindset because you have to think there's a whole list of games that have come out this year that have been really great experiences and great games. But 2 of the games that have come out this year are remakes that have been touted as some of the best games of the year, with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Silent Hill 2. But I would probably say I would probably say not coming from somebody that hasn't even played it. It wouldn't surprise me if Dragon Age got it. There's too many people talking about it. I mean, it was a massive launch. It's one of the better BioWare products that have come out in recent years.
I was going to ask you guys if Dragon Age would have gotten the Hogwarts Legacy treatment.
No.
No, I just actually finished Dragon Age last night, 60 hours.
Yeah,
just finished it up.
Yeah, and comparing
I think we gotta put Hogwarts away because you brought it up. Is Hogwarts has a lot tied to it with a known person that just hates people.
No. I get that, but because it had,
but like it affected so much
before release. Dragon Age sort of had this around it where people are like, oh, I don't, and you know, hearing there were certain scenes that people couldn't be talked about. There was controversy. Is there enough controversy around it to where it made like, you know what, we're not going to do it because we don't want to. That's why I brought it up.
I don't really believe so. And I mean, and kind of, you know, to tie in with what Hugger said too, I feel for the Hogwarts dev team because I've played Hogwarts. I know what the game is, and but it's that, you know, it's just the fact of that
it's a true gaming.
A lot of that money, a lot of that revenue goes to, you know, the original writer of the series, and you know, it's just it's hard to support that, you know. But whenever it comes down to something like Dragon Age, I haven't, like I said, I have not even played the game. And it has been such an utter success. You know, watching some of the Becky was shocked when she did her review and our review got picked up for the adverts, and she was just she was blown away by it. But I told her, I'm like, you know, I read her review and I went and bought the game. Like I hadn't played it yet, but like I read her review and I was like, oh shit, bro, hold up, this might actually be you know, some hardcore BioWare, you know, stuff. So the last BioWare product that came out, of course, that I was excited about was the last Mass Effect. And I was, you know, of course, shot down with disappointment. But from where they're going, it's going, I feel that Dragon Age could possibly have a little bit of a treatment that Baldur's Gate got last year, you know, and get a good little chunk of awards for the amount of work that they put in on this game. That's just me personally. So,
Rand, what's your game of the year, Rand?
Right now, because I haven't played Stalker 2, and I haven't played Indiana Jones, which Indiana Jones I'm really looking forward to.
Me too.
So currently, my game of the year, like 1A, is Prince of Persia: Lost Crown.
Ooh, look at dig deep.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, so I played it when it came out in January, but I just went back to it recently to play the DLC, and it reminded me so much of why I like that game, right? But 1B for me is Silent Hill 2. The work that Bloober team did on this is like fantastic. As someone who's like a big fan of the original, I was in like awe of the game. I was just like, holy crap. You know, like I love Silent Hill 2 so much, which is weird to say because it's such a sad and depressing game. But those would be mine, my two. But I think what's going to win at the Keeleys is this whole DLC thing is running a monkey wrench. Yeah. Because part of me thinks it's going to be Shadow of the Erdtree, right? Mm-hmm. But if I had to take a guess, I haven't played this game yet, so I don't know how I personally feel, but I feel like it's lining up for Metaphor ReFantasia.
There it is.
Yeah. There's a part of me that thinks it's lining up for that.
Yep. It's our modern day Persona, like Persona 5. Like
I haven't played it either, Rand. Yeah. I have not played it at all, and I really don't have no interest in playing it. But my heart of hearts, I feel like that's what's going to win.
I can see that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to
deserved victory.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because it hit the numbers. It's got the love. It's got the, it's got the everything. And it has the media. It has every angle it needs to have, and it has the vibe and feel, the vibe from what I've heard of Persona. And we already know Persona moves the needle, like, period. Like, the last like 4 years we've had nothing but Persona remakes, and people have absolutely lost their mind over it. Like, and no, but this is what I'm saying. Like, literally,
so true, man.
no, think about it. Like, you think last 4 to 5 years, it's been nothing from P2 to P3, P4. Like, it's, and people have lost
Persona
it.
4 Golden as soon as they announced it.
Like, this is. So to get something made by the same people that has a feel, may not necessarily be the same story or exact same mechanics, but I think it's enough to move people, to move it, and I that's fair. I really do hope, and this is a big hope. I hope Helldivers 2 gets in the conversation. Even though I don't even play it, I haven't played it since. I think summer.
Recency bias does.
Oh, it murders. It murders.
And I think because of the controversy of them almost ruining their own game.
Well, Sony.
If let's say Helldivers released 2 months ago,
it would be game of the year.
Before they patched it, it would be in the conversation, no doubt.
Yeah,
for game of the year. I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot when they kept messing with stuff, and I think it kind of what was the game? Or why am I drawing a blank that Xbox sold recently?
Oh,
Hi-Fi Rush.
What, Hi-Fi Rush?
Yeah.
Remember Hi-Fi Rush came out around
that should have been game of the year. That
like,
should have been game of the year.
Yeah. But I think because it was so early in the year,
it got washed.
And time went on, that it became an afterthought.
Yeah.
I think that plays an important role.
Yeah.
Into who I think it does. If your game releases, I mean, unless you're just a cultural phenomenon like Elden Ring, and you release in January or February, you're gonna have a hard time winning that award in November and December, because so many games have come in since then, and people have stopped playing your game a long time ago. That they sort of like, because again, Hi-Fi Rush was people like, oh my god, this game could be game of the year. When game of the year came around, no one gave it a chance.
That was my game of the year.
It came out this year.
Yeah, we did. Look, and that sure did come out this year, and I did not know. I forgot.
Sure.
You could have lied to me. Y'all could have sold me that one. You could have sold me that bridge. I thought that bad boy came out last year, and I would have believed you. Like, oh yeah, November, December, easy.
You know what game I thought would have had a chance before it came out? Then it came out, and I was like, Star Wars Outlaws.
I can't stand you.
Ooh.
But yeah, I did too.
I did at first. I was, because I don't like Star Wars. I said this. I was on podcast on yesterday, and I was going to do something about culture. And I said, I don't want the Star Wars fans to come out to me on the IGN channel, right? I don't like Star Wars, but I was like, yo, this looks kind of dope. Like, this looks really good. Like, this can be up there. And when it came out, I was like, oh yeah, this game doesn't stand a chance.
Damn.
And it was misleading because the Avatar game was good before that.
Yeah, that was a surprise hit.
Avatar.
You didn't like it?
That game sucked.
What?
I hated that game. And it should have been third person. That game sucked.
What?
I'm glad I didn't have to pay for it.
Hey, yeah.
That game sucked.
I don't even know what to say right now. Jesus Christ. I ain't never
I've been mad if I'd have paid money for it.
Hey,
it should have been third person. I want to see my big stick. I think I would like it more if it wasn't.
What?
Hey, yeah, I was gonna move on from that. Hey,
listen, hold up. I just gotta say, the anger in your voice when you said that. I'm not looking at the screen right now, but I could just imagine your face. You're like, that game sucked, man.
I haven't heard you talk like that about a game. Damn.
No, he doesn't talk like that.
I don't get why some of the people like that game, bro. That game sucked.
Look, I'm gonna be real with y'all. This is such a foreign experience for me. I have never heard him talk about a game like this.
Yeah. The only other game was Forspoken that you just hated. Damn.
Oh, that game sucked, bro.
Hey, bro, you can't do this. Hey, yo,
I thought everybody was lying, and so I went and got a physical.
Look, he is mad.
Y'all got a physical copy. I was like, oh, y'all just lying. Y'all just mad because she's black, bro. when I say this is the worst dialogue,
yeah.
This game suck. I hate this game. I want my money back. I paid like
listen.
Wait. Hey, real quiet, everybody. Real quick. Fame. What happened? How do you feel about Forspoken and Avatars of Pandora?
But that game sucked.
We gotta clip that. Hey, we need that sound.
You gotta clip that.
We gotta use that sound.
And if a game is just really bad, then instead of having an actual score, it's just an animated face of Fame coming up.
That game sucks. I hate that game, bro.
You're right, Matt. He said it with whole chest.
I've never.
He doesn't talk like this about games. That's why I'm surprised.
For real, dog.
Like, he's very cordial.
Why do I want to give him like a bunch of bad games that I know are bad just to have him play it, just so he'll say this?
Right, Retribution. Find him a copy.
Oh my god. Oh my.
Uh-oh. Oh no, not Discord freezing. Oh no, guys. Oh no. Oh no. Hold on. We're just having some technical difficulties. I'm gonna throw it to the trailers.
Yeah. No, that pivot you did to the commercials, that was solid.
Girl, your whole hate burnt up the whole stream.
That's not what you're saying. That's heat. And the hate.
Hey, I ain't never heard Fame talk about a game like that. I have never.
I was so excited for that game, bro. I think that's part of it.
Like Forspoken. Like I knew he didn't like that. I watched somebody play Forspoken. I think a lot of it was caricatured off of like what her life experience was. With the whole,
my dad's in prison.
Yeah, my dad's in prison.
That intro was one of the most racist things I've ever seen in my life.
But I thought the world itself and the graphics were really nice.
Oh yeah.
In Forspoken. I thought that was really, really nice. I thought some of the gameplay was really dope.
Do you want me to tell you what I really think it was? I think it was a tech test for the Final Fantasy like Rebirth and all that other stuff.
It could have been, yeah.
Like honestly, I think they just threw the assets together. It was like, hey,
worst game, so I can't be like that game sucked.
She said it.
So
we're gonna have a podcast and just run out some games, bro. This game suck.
Barney!